So then he's come out swinging. If you remember, he implemented some tariffs on Mexico and Canada. He went hard on Mexico and Canada. He's been doing a lot of talk about Canada being, a state. Then he's gone in and signed, and then he's threatened China with a 10% tariff, which he did implement. And then he had this Liberation Day, which I'm sure you may have seen, where he came up with this graph that he was going to implement reciprocal tariffs on any country that implements tariffs onto the US. So he's gone out, for example, Australia got a 10% tariff. Also in there, so not only is he going to implement reciprocal tariffs, there's now a standard baseline. If you want to import into the US, there's a 10% tariff that they're going to implement as a baseline tariff. So he went out with this reciprocal tariff Liberation Day. You've all seen the images. And then a few days later, the markets on that day went into turmoil. I think the Dow lost 7%. The Australian markets, the global markets got slaughtered. So then a couple of days later, what happened is Trump said, we're getting a lot of calls from a lot of different countries telling us about how they want to negotiate. And so what we're going to do is pause the tariffs for a 90-day period, bar one. And the one he left on is a tariff with China. So he has gone and implemented a tariff on China. China retaliated with a tariff against the US. The US went back and retaliated again and increased the tariff slightly, to which China has come out swinging with. And so now it's gone a little bit tit for tat. And as it stands, the US has ridiculous amounts of tariffs on China, as high as 145%, and China has some reciprocal tariffs on the US as well, to a high tune of around, I think, about 85 to 100%. So that's what's happening. I want to go to your thoughts.
What do you think, firstly? Because I'm really interested in your perspective on the tariffs, Jacob.
I'm glad you asked, mate. I'm glad you asked. So what do I think of the tariffs being implemented generally? I have made a YouTube video about this. You should go check it out on our channel. It breaks down why Trump wants to do the tariffs, but I'll break it down in under a minute right now. First of all, you have to understand US history with tariffs. Prior to about the Second World War, most of the US tax revenue was made up from tariffs. Income taxes was introduced with the war effort on the First and Second World War. And so predominantly the income that the US derived was from tariffs. So they have had a history with tariffs. It's no surprise that the US has a relationship with tariffs. That's number one. Number two, Donald Trump has ran on the fact that he is going to implement tariffs, okay? So it shouldn't surprise you when the tariffs get implemented. Why is he implementing the tariffs is the question. Number one, he feels like the US is being ripped off. They have a $1 trillion trade deficit with all trading partners. And so Trump does not like the fact that the US is consuming more of other people's goods and it's not being reciprocated out there, hence the reciprocal tariffs. And the idea of reciprocation is that all these other countries had tariffs on the US to start off with. So they weren't as friendly as the media paints it out to be. And so what all he's doing is reciprocating what has happened to the US. That's another reason. And finally, there's a negotiation tactic here where Trump comes out, implements some stupid number of tariff, and then sort of backtracks a little bit and has only used that as a tool to get someone to the table. The Art of the Deal, very famous book written by Donald Trump. So he's a master negotiator, and partly there is a negotiation tactic. Specifically on China, Trump feels like the US is being ripped off by China because in 2000, around the year 2000, China was signed into the World Trade Organization. Trump views it as non-compliant with World Trade Organization rules. Trump also says that they're taking away US jobs and that the US domestic market is being flooded with Chinese goods. They rip off the IP and they're not fair actors, is what Donald Trump at least thinks. Whether that's right or wrong is up to you to decide. That's why he's implemented the tariffs. Do I think it's a good thing? If I was the president of the United States and I knew we had a $1 trillion trade deficit and my people have no jobs or less jobs because of it, I think tariffs are and I was actually doing a bit of research on this. Tariffs work where an economy works when the following happens. If you can import raw material, and take that material and create value and then send it to other countries, you've got a great economy, okay? What hurts your economy is when other people dump their goods into your market for much lower prices that you can't compete with, and you lose your manufacturing ability. So you implement tariffs to give your domestic manufacturing sector time to innovate, compete, and grow so that you provide jobs for your own domestic market and compete with your economy. So tariffs do work, okay? Do I agree with the way they've been implemented? If I'm in the US position with a $1 trillion trade deficit and the best domestic consumer on the planet, I probably would increase tariffs as well. And it's only reciprocal. So I think the question is, why are the other countries implementing tariffs on the US first, and then we can have a more robust conversation.